Yo, what is up guys? It's me exactly back bringing you more daily NBA news. As always, I appreciate you guys for checking back to see what's going on in the basketball world on a daily basis. So now let's just take a look at what's going on in the basketball world. First, I had to tell you a bit about this video sponsor, Hardwood Amino for NBA. I've recommended this app a few times already and they hit me back up like, yo Zach, we got some cool new features on the app that we want you to check out. For example, the What's Happening Now feature, where you can see how many people are doing what at all times, so you will always know where the action is at when you want to find the most people to talk to. It's a pretty dope feature, and overall this is still the best social media app that is NBA only by far. Quizzes, polls, live discussion groups, articles, you name it, they have it. I'll even be on there writing some posts and doing some live stream Q&A. So if you want to check out the app, I'll have the links to download it down in the description box below. But now with that out the way, let's just get into everything that went down yesterday. First up in the news, we have yet another update on some changes that could be coming to the NBA playoffs, as news broke that the NBA is considering doing a play-in tournament to determine the last two seeds of each conference. These tournaments will be single game tournaments, not a best of 7 series that will feature 4 teams from both conferences, the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th seed. And basically what happened is this: the 7th seed and the 8th seed play in a single game, where the winner is rewarded with the 7th seed. Then the 9th seed and the 10th seed play in a single game, where the winner goes on to face the loser from the 7th versus 8th seeded game to see who gets the 8th seed. Which sounds like a crazy idea, but it is gaining traction because it is seen as something that could bring some life towards the end of the NBA regular season. We all know as fans that the last 10 to 15 games of the NBA season can seem to drag out a bit, because by then we all know the teams that are most likely going to make the playoffs and could even start to guesstimate who's going to be facing who. So that part of the NBA season leading up to the playoffs is pretty dry. This tournament could be something that helps to change that. Other than that though, this could be a good thing for some teams who had some difficulty in the regular season for one reason or another. Maybe they had some serious injuries to key players that knocked them out of playoff contention early. This tournament could help them get back into the playoffs. For example, you look at the Miami Heat from last year. They finished the season as one of the best teams in the NBA. However, because of their terrible start to the season, they didn't make it into the playoffs. If this were in place last year, this probably would have been their ticket in. So this would be good for reasons like that. However, on the other hand, the question has to be asked: is this fair? Is it fair that a team can work to get into the playoffs, make the 7th or 8th seed by the end of the regular season, and still not get into the playoffs because of something like this? For example, you look at the Philadelphia 76ers this year. Right now, I believe they have the 7th seed with the 31-25 record, whereas the Charlotte Hornets have the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference with the 25-33 record. They are a full 7 games behind the Philadelphia 76ers in the standings. If this tournament were to take place, there is a chance that even though the Sixers have been the better team throughout the entire season, that the Hornets could still make it in over them because of various reasons. So is that fair? Does this kind of decrease the value of the NBA regular season? That is a serious question. And it also brings up some other concerns surrounding the NBA draft lottery. We all know that the teams who aren't in the top 8 of the standings in their conference are thrown into the NBA lottery. So what would happen if the 9th or the 10th seed who are supposed to be in the lottery actually wind up in the playoffs because of this? Do they get to keep their lottery pick and get into the playoffs? What about the team that might have finished 7th or 8th but then got knocked out of the playoffs because of this tournament? Do they get to take the lottery pick of the team that got in over them? That's another question that would need to be answered. There is a lot of stuff to think about here, but this is still just in the discussion phase from the NBA. Nothing is imminent. If this does happen, it's not guaranteed to be in this format, and on top of that, it'll probably be a while before anything like this actually goes down. In other news, we have some recruiting inception going on in the NBA. Over the All-Star weekend, we got numerous reports about players trying to recruit other players. We had Ben Simmons posting his cryptic picture and caption on Instagram saying June 30th, midnight, #clutch, with him and LeBron James in the same picture. Giannis Antetokounmpo came out once again and said that he wants LeBron to join the Milwaukee Bucks next season. So right off the bat, both the Bucks and the Sixers are already trying to get early starts into recruiting LeBron James, who's going to be the most sought after free agent come this offseason. However, while Ben Simmons and Giannis Antetokounmpo were out here playing checkers, Joel Embiid was playing chess. As while Giannis was trying to recruit LeBron, Embiid was trying to recruit Giannis. He told me that I should trust the process and come play for Philly. That was my reaction. I just laughed. That's what Giannis Antetokounmpo said that Joel Embiid said to him over the All-Star weekend. The seriousness though has to be pretty laughable because there is no way that you can really recruit Giannis right now. He's under contract until 2021. On top of that, he has said time and time again how he plans to commit to the Milwaukee Bucks as long as they commit to him by trying to win a championship. So overall, I believe this was just Joel Embiid being Joel Embiid. Still though, just imagine a team with Giannis, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and LeBron James. As long as the rest of the team had nothing but pure shooters, that's 82-0 guaranteed. In other news, Michael Porter Jr., who was supposed to be one of the most hyped up players in collegiate basketball this year and one of the more intriguing NBA prospects, has been officially cleared to play full contact basketball. But that being said, it's still uncertain whether or not he will return to the floor for Missouri this season. The young star went down only 2 minutes into his collegiate career with a back injury that required him to have nearly season-ending surgery. Now though, there are only 3 games left in Missouri's season before the big tournament starts, so it probably doesn't make the most sense for him to try and take the court again. Now the question is, will he enter the NBA draft? Does he go to the NBA with basically no college experience, or does he stay another year with Missouri? Back in October though, Porter did say that he might skip out on the NBA draft this year to stay in college one more season. Everybody thinks I'm not serious when I say that, but I actually might spend more than 1 year in college. What do you guys think? Is he going to stay or is he going to go to the NBA? In other news, it's been a while since I've seen any of those crazy Trae Young performances floating around on the internet. It wasn't too long ago when people were comparing him to the likes of Stephen Curry, saying that he's going to be one of the next great point guards in the NBA once he's drafted in June. Recently though, Young has hit a bit of a rough patch. As over Oklahoma's current 6-game losing streak, Young has went from averaging over 30 points per game on 45% shooting from the field to 21.5 points per game on 33% shooting from the field. However, despite his current shooting slump, we got reports from NBA scouts saying that they're not giving up on Trae Young and that this type of thing is normal. One scout saying, if you're a Trae Young fan, this slump does not affect your thinking at all. And another scout saying late season slumps rarely affect a full body of work. So those scouts just checked it out to the long NCAA season and just the typical shooting slump that great shooters always go through. However, there were other NBA scouts who were blaming it less on Trae Young and more on Oklahoma and the lack of a real supporting cast that he has there. I still believe in him. Teams are targeting with their best defender, double teams and pressure. He needs his teammates to step up and they're not. Put him with 4 pros and things are different. I respect that Trae still plays hard and still gets assists. Also saying he doesn't have a ton of help around him, and the way Oklahoma plays so heavily dependent on Trae, it puts crazy pressure on his shoulders. In my opinion, the things that Trae Young was able to do earlier into his collegiate career aren't flukes. It's not a fluke that he was able to put up those numbers. That's actual skill. But that's just my opinion on this though. What do you guys think? Were his earlier performances flukes and this is the way that he really is playing now? Or just let me know what you think. But that's going to lead us to the question of the day. And today's question today is going to be this. What would you guys feel about that play-in tournament? I know this is going to be one of the things that people are really split on. Some people are gonna love it, some people are gonna hate it. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. But now let's take a look at what you guys said in yesterday's video. And yesterday I asked you guys how you feel about this whole Kawhi Leonard situation, with him most likely not going to play it all the rest of the season, and here's what you said. I think it's just a case of a smart player looking out for his long-term health. There's nothing between him and the Spurs. With after all of this news, I 100% believe the injury is mental, or at least has something to do with his mental state. Most people are either saying that it's mental or that he's looking out for his health. Personally, I don't know what to believe with Kawhi Leonard. He doesn't strike me as the type of player that will let this injury affect his mental state, but then again, this injury wasn't supposed to be as big as it has been. Back at the beginning of the season, he was only supposed to be out for a couple of weeks. Now he's going to be out for basically the entire NBA season. So I really have no clue what's going on here. So I don't know what to think or say. Don't forget to leave your answer for today's question of the day down in the comment section below. But now let's take a real quick look at the games from last night. This game perfectly summed up the season as a whole that OKC is having so far, up and down. It started off great as they were able to outscore the Kings 44-21 in the first quarter. After that though, things weren't looking so good, as the Kings were able to come back and even take the lead after going on a huge 16-0 run to end the third quarter. But it still wound up turning out okay for OKC, as they were still able to get the 110-107 127 win thanks to Russell Westbrook hitting a game-winning 3 at the buzzer. Westbrook had been off with a shot all night but still hit the one that mattered the most. And despite him having not his best night from the field, he still finished with the 18th triple-double of the season with 17 points, 15 rebounds, and 11 assists. When Stephen Curry gets hot, it's a wrap. When he's hitting threes from nearly 40 feet out, just call the game. There is no point in continuing. That being said, it is impressive that the Clippers were able to hang in there the entire time despite Curry having an amazing night where he scored 44 points on 14 of 19 shooting, 11 of 8 from 3. Despite all of that, the Clippers were never too far out of this game. They hung in there right until the very end where they eventually lost 134 to 127 to Golden State. The Cleveland Cavaliers lost their first game since they traded away half their team to the Washington Wizards last night, 110 to 103. The Wizards started off kinda slow but got it together starting in the second quarter. Bradley Beal and Thomas Satoransky did a great job facilitating the Wizards offense. Beal with 18 points and 9 assists while Satoransky added 17 points and 8 assists. The Cavs, on the other hand, just really struggled to hit any of their shots, only connecting on 8 of their 35 triple attempts. Maybe the Bulls got the message that Mark Cuban gave the Mavericks about it being better for them to lose games down the stretch of the season, because it seemed like they were trying to lose game down the stretch. The Bulls were up 5, 115 to 110 with 30 seconds left in the game, but after a Ben Simmons tip-in, a couple of fouls, and a steal from Joel Embiid, Philly was able to steal the 116 to 115 win over Chicago. Ben Simmons with a career high 32 points to go along with 11 assists, while Joel Embiid was great as always with 30 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 4 blocks. Bobby Portis though, where did this come from? Man had an amazing game, 38 points, career high for him last night. Aaron Gordon and Nikola Vucevic both returned from injuries for Orlando, and they still lost, 120 to 113 to the Knicks. The Knicks said they would be looking to get both Frank Ntilikina and Emmanuel Mudiay more minutes at point guard for the rest of the season, and they did. Mudiay got the start, and Ntilikina played 30 minutes off the bench, but the best point guard was actually Trey Burke, who was great off the bench, scoring 26 points and 6 assists. Once again, I really hope he can find a stable role in the NBA. Kemba Walker picked up on the tear that he left off on before the All-Star break as he tallied yet another 30-point game with 31. And Dwight Howard also continued his resurgent season as well, scoring 15 points and grabbing 24 rebounds. And those two performances alone were enough to get the Hornets to 111 to 96 win over the Nets. That was all the action from yesterday. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to smack that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more daily NBA news, as well as join the quest to 200,000 subscribers, hashtag a million a year. Remember to vote for the player of the day, but also remember the only players whose team won are eligible to win player of the day. Thank you once again for watching. I'll see all of you right back here tomorrow, but until then, I am out of here.